Well, maybe I'll give that last song with Danielle Haim a listen, but other than that, until Bon Iver apologizes to Beyonce, I will not be listening to his music.
Bon Iver apologized. Okay, I need more. Do we
Apology
have time?
tour.
Do we have time for this?
Who
Can you
could
give
forget?
context?
The year was 2016. Bon Iver was doing an interview with Rolling Stone. He said to Rolling Stone, Beyonce should not be taking $2 million and doing a Pepsi tour and then be a young role model for young girls. Don't do that. That stuff really angers me. To which I say, Bon Iver, you're fucking jealous. Guess who's jealous of Beyonce? Bon Iver! Because Pepsi ain't coming knocking on his door asking him to take a tour for $2 million and be a brand ambassador. He needs to take several seats. Goodbye, Bon Iver. You canceled. You burnt.
All right, well, I think that this new album is really incredible. And also, I feel like I thought I remember him having worked with a bunch of Beyonce frequent collaborators, so I'm kind of surprised to hear.
Did you find anything
this.
about the Beyonce controversy? Okay.
Found the article.
You are right, indeed. I never doubted it.
I mean, I knew that I had heard about this vaguely, but...
Man, that is not a good photo of him. Oh my.
That's just what he looks like.
He's not good looking.
Justin doesn't do drugs. I am the drug. Woo! Justin.
And I'm the kind of guy you bring home to fuck your dad, Geoff.
And welcome to Vance. I kind of want to go into the background of why that intro was so funny to me.
I would like to know.
Okay, well, for listeners who do not see behind the curtain, this is actually our second time recording this introductory part of the podcast because one of us, and I won't specify who,
Could be anyone.
forgot to press record on Audacity at the beginning of this recording session.
Could definitely be anyone.
And Geoff had a totally different intro the first time around, so this was very unexpected for me.
You know what, Justin? You got to keep him on your toes. Keep him on your toes. Don't let him know what's going on. Never let him know your next move.
Speaking of keeping the listeners on their toes, we are joined today by my favorite person, Brandy, my fiancée, runner, track star, I would say developing model, perhaps.
Wow, you really came back with a vengeance from the first recording we did, because the first one was not that good.
It was certainly not good.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the pod, Brands.
Brandy, he really made up for it that time, I think.
Well.
It's a joy to have you on the pod, and we've been talking back and forth about like what topic we want to have you on for.
Yeah.
And you and I have been watching White Lotus week to week since the premiere, so I think this is a good match here.
And I also just didn't have a topic I felt like I could really talk about yet, and I wanted to be able to contribute my thoughts. But where were you? You're making a face, Geoff.
Oh no! Well, here's what's happening. He's singing the White Lotus theme song, but the Zoom algorithm is cutting it for us, so we can't hear him.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so glad this is our second time around doing this. The creativity is flourishing.
The juices are flowing. My mind palace, the lights are all on.
Wow. We're finally here. But we'll get to our White Lotus discussion later in the episode. First, why don't we get into some hot topics? And Geoff,
Yes,
it's weekend one of Coachella.
it is.
Have you heard anything about this storied music festival?
How about the traffic?
Oof.
How about the traffic getting into Indio, California? Home of Coachella.
Famously.
Taking about 3 to 4 hours to drive in.
Where do people park? Do you know?
I think they got parking fields.
Okay.
I think it's like a Six Flags or, Disney World situation where they got a lot of fields, where you could just go and park, parking lots, the like.
I'm sure that's muddy in certain circumstances. I'm sure that's not fun.
Well, isn't it a desert? So
Dry
wouldn't it not
desert.
be muddy?
Mario Kart.
Well, whenever it rains, it's like, there's been past Coachellas where it's like potentially dangerous conditions in the mud.
That's a dry desert theme for Mario Kart, right?
I don't know.
Doesn't it go like that?
I don't know that one either.
We'll insert a clip in the background here.
The things that stick in your mind at the same time that other things leave your mind is really interesting.
My mind is like a colander lined with fly paper. Things are getting out, but random chunky bits will stick into it.
That's a great metaphor.
I think so too.
I guess more of a simile, because you said like.
It's kind of a gross metaphor. If you really
I have
think
to
about
pick
it.
these things up. What about Grey Gardens? Did you guys ever watch? I've been telling you to watch it for years. Do you ever watch it?
You have been talking about you've been talking about Grey Gardens for years.
Like decades at this point. A decade at this point, at least.
Have not watched.
Well, that's a big disappointment to me because it's very important. I'm going to have another night where I'm like, I want everybody to come over. And I'm going to play for you a film that is of great importance to me. You guys will be there when that happens. I'm going to do Grey Gardens. Specifically the HBO version, the dramatized HBO version of the original 1970s documentary. Because it's so good.
I mean, listen, I'm all for a screening of an obscure film, personally.
Thank you. Well, you guys, did you hear about what happened the last time I tried this with our friends from home?
Ma? Was this the Ma situation?
This was the Ma incident.
Well, yes, I have heard because you may remember we had an entire podcast episode about it.
I've forgotten about that slip through the calendar. But yeah, they weren't feeling it. They were, after the film ended, I said, what'd you guys think? And they were like, what the fuck? Like, I just can't believe it.
Don't make me drink alone.
Don't make me drink alone. Well, thank you, Brandy.
Brandy knows. Brandy's on Team Geoff in this situation.
I like Ma. I thought it was funny. Oh my god, I love when she hits the woman with her car. And then she reverses and rolls back over her.
It's so good. That movie is amazing. No notes.
But okay, we gotta go back to Coachella. We talked about the traffic.
Talking about the traffic. Listen, talking about traffic.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta give a shout out to one of my favorite, and you know how I feel about influencer culture, but one of my favorite, I would say content creators.
Mm-hmm.
That transit guy. He's that transit guy on all platforms. He had a little interesting post that I want to share with you. Now, there is a train that runs from LA to Palm Springs, which is close to where Coachella is. Close but no cigar. So, people talking about on TikTok driving, 4 hours to get out there and then sitting in traffic for another 3 to 4 hours while they try to find a place to park. Can you imagine spending a work day getting to a festival?
No.
And then you're like a mile from the festival, but you gotta basically stand in line in your car for 3 to 4 hours to get into said festival, which is so close.
I think I would have to be sedated because I can't even handle driving in the car. Like, ask Justin. Like, I turned into a fucking gremlin.
Ask Justin. I've been in cars with you, girl.
No, I get really fucking grumpy. Like, you would have to sedate.
This is news to no one but the listeners.
Yeah,
this is news to no one but the listeners.
Brandy famously has car anxiety. This is true. Anyways, Coachella.
There's a train that goes from LA to Palm Springs. As mentioned, town next over from Indio, California, where Coachella is held. How many times do you think that train runs between LA and Palm Springs? A day. In a 24-hour period.
Thrice.
Brandy, what's your guess?
Twice.
You'd both be wrong. It's once a day, and guess what time it gets in from LA? Do a little guess.
Like 8 a.m. in the morning?
Okay.
11:30 a.m.
Okay. Justin, I'd like to thank you for reminding us all that a.m. means in the morning. You'd both be wrong again. The train gets in at 12:46 a.m.
Why? Why does that train exist?
You gotta take imagine taking a red-eye train to go about 4 hours away.
So it leaves LA around 10ish, I'm assuming, or 10 or 11?
Yeah, I would guess 9:45, 10, something like that.
Why does that exist though? Why is...
I don't know.
That's
I don't know
bizarre.
who's taking that train. But I'm like, what about this? What about increase the number of trains, at least for this weekend?
Yeah, just the frequency of them. Just have them going back and forth.
What about those old cartoons, like the Looney Tunes, where they would stand on a single little caboose type of train thing, and they would do this, up and down with the handle and pump themselves along the track?
The hand carts, yeah.
No, there's actual places you can go to do that. There's like it's like through the woods. There's like one in
That
West
actually
Virginia.
sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think I'd be into that. Should we go to West Virginia?
It's like hiking, but you're not hiking.
Wait,
Which I love.
Well, I feel like here's what would happen. Jeff would be like, I'm so into that. And then Jeff would be
would
pumping
arrive.
the cart for like 5 minutes. And he'd be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a break, but you're welcome to keep pumping if you want.
That is not true. I'm very active now. You don't know about me. I got stuff going on over here.
It's not about the physical fitness level that I'm talking about, Jeff. It's more just about I'm getting bored by this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be bored. I'd be like, let's make up a song. And everyone would be like, no. I'd be playing I Spy and get distracted by shit and stop pumping. But anyway, let's get back to more of the Coachella updates because, trains aside, there's a lot more to talk about.
Yes. And one of those things is the extreme heat that attendees of Coachella were feeling this year and the performers.
40 degrees, H-O-T.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's like over 100-degree weather this weekend.
That's crazy.
In California. So that's tough.
That is tough.
Lola Young, the singer of the hit Messy, which I think everybody probably knows if you've been on TikTok or on the internet, she had to throw up in the middle of her set. Partially because of the heat and partially because of nerves, I think, because she's a relatively new artist who, had a real huge come up this year. So probably the biggest show she's ever played.
You know what? That's tough, and I'm sorry that she went through that. But she has nothing to be ashamed about. A lot of people thrown up for less.
Truly.
A lot of people thrown up for less.
Honestly, I think it's kind of badass that she threw up.
Yeah, it in a way is just like endearing me to her more because I think she's really talented. And I also love her extraordinarily thick accent. You ever hear her talk?
No, I haven't. What kind of accent does she have?
I don't know. I mean, it's British, but I don't know the exact type of British accent because we all know there's like 20 some odd of them. Maybe Geordie? I don't want to say that. Maybe Scouse? I don't know. Never mind. Ignore. Delete. That's what people are going to be yelling at me while they listen. I don't know what it is, but it's very thick, and she did an interview with, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, and it was actually so funny because it's very clear he cannot understand her at all.
Oh, no.
I think it's worth a watch. But I really like her. I think she's a great performer, and that song is excellent. Grammy.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was nominated for best song.
I think she'll win Best New Artist.
Best record, perhaps, yeah.
Hands down. Certainly not Miss Boone. Miss Boone will not be winning Best New Artist.
No.
He didn't at the Grammys. Remember, he was nominated.
Oh, he was nominated?
That's how we started talking about this, man.
Oh, God, you're right. I've forgotten about that.
Speaking of Mr. Flips.
Mr. Flips.
Fucking Mr. Flips.
Brandy calls him Mr. Flips.
Yeah.
Brandy and I have that in common.
He also performed at Coachella. And he did an interesting cover. Jeff, have you heard anything about this?
But of course, and I certainly did watch the entire performance. Covering Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes. As discussed on our karaoke episode, not a great choice for karaoke.
Terrible.
And in my opinion, not a great cover choice for an up-and-coming artist like Benson Boone at Coachella.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is your opportunity to make a name for yourself, and doing covers of that like scale where it's like one of the most well-known songs of all time is a weird choice.
It is a weird choice. And I gotta say, if you're gonna sing Freddie Mercury, you better have the range. You better have the range.
Did he have the range?
Brandy, your verdict?
I don't think he had the range.
Brandy, as always, you're so right.
I know. We
Yeah.
have that in common.
We also have that in common. He was struggling with some of the high notes, but I want to say this about the performance. I appreciate paying homage to a legend. I mean, Freddie Mercury is a true legend. Queen, a legendary band. And we got to give it up for legendary Brian May. Miss May always coming out there with his teetering Fran Drescher hair, all clad in white, ready to rock it down. And he always delivers. He's always good. Ain't nobody can shred on the guitar like him. So let's give it up for Miss Brian May. Snaps, congrats. He was the best part of the whole performance.
Every time I think of Benson Boone now, I think of shout out to my good friend Bridget when we were watching the his Grammys performance, and Justin did warn her right before that he does flips, and she's like, what does he do? And then we were watching, and she was like, no, immediately no. She's like, I fucking hate this so much. She's like, I get the ick. She like got the ick so bad from him that she was just like screaming the entire performance because she hated it so much.
Lots of flips.
So every time I think of Benson Boone, I think of my dear friend Bridget.
You know what I'm thinking of now that you said this? I'm thinking of, remember those, I think this was a thing in the 90s, those like Cabbage Patch doll things where you like held the arms and the doll would like do a little flip. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
do you remember
those
that?
were so creepy.
They're so weird.
Oh my
I
god.
was like, what is happening?
Ew.
It really truly fell into the valley of the uncanny for me.
But yeah, Benson Boone did not, in my opinion, nail the cover of Bohemian Rhapsody. And on top of that, he announced a new album that's coming out on June 20th. It's called American Heart. Let me ask you guys, are you guys hyped for this album?
You already know the answer to that question. Try again.
Do you think I knew that this album was a thing? No.
It's just it's weird because Benson Boone, I mean, there's multiple things that give me a little bit of a yellow flag about this whole operation. First off is this like leaning into the comparisons that people have already made between him and Freddie Mercury and other artists like Elton John. Like during the cover, he was wearing this very Elton John-esque, like massive kind of fur coat. Maybe it was faux fur. I don't know. And he's like playing a piano. Obviously an homage to Elton John, in my opinion.
A half-assed homage, by the way.
Yeah, and when he doesn't really nail it in the same way or isn't being as like, not even subversive, but just like as flamboyant or as strange in his music choices as those two artists, I don't know. It feels like cosplaying as opposed to actually being like a real artist, you know?
That's exactly it. It's the inauthenticity for me. Like, the thing about Freddie Mercury, Elton John, even other people who were like flamboyant artists, Prince, Little Richard, was that they were doing things that were, sure, gender bendy, but also they were doing experimental music. They were like trying new types of music. Like, who's gonna do a song like Crocodile Rock again, ever? You know? Who could ever do something like Purple Rain with like a 3-minute instrumental in the middle of the song and have it be like a Billboard #1 hit?
On top of that, like Benson Boone is like aggressively like centrist, like aggressively like all the edges are sanded down, like nothing controversial. You may remember a headline a few months ago where Mark Zuckerberg got a hold of Benson Boone's jumpsuit from his Grammy performance and wore it at his wife's birthday party and performed for her, I believe is
his poor
headline.
wife.
Oh, no, I don't feel bad for Miss Chan either.
Really?
Miss Chan and Miss Zuckerberg can both fuck themselves. They could be doing a lot more to help the country.
Oh, 100%. Like I said in our previous recording, fuck the centrists.
Well,
fuck the centrist.
Fuck the centrists.
Of the two, I prefer Miss Chan over Mr. Zuckerberg. But that's, the bar's low.
Like, do you think she was like into that? Like, she was like, oh yeah, like this is the best thing you could have done for me.
I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, I think if my partner did something like that for me, I'd be like, okay, they put in a big effort here. Might have missed the mark, but this was thought out.
I think I would get immediate ick. Please, Justin, don't ever do something like that.
No, you would hate it. You would be like,
I would
what?
hate it so much.
I would hate that too, but I'm just saying I would be like, well, at least they tried.
You would try to be nice.
Yeah, I would try to reframe it as them being kind and doing something. But then, you know what? I kind of feel like he didn't really do that for her. I think he just kind of felt like fucking doing a flip on the piano in an ice skating outfit.
This is part of the rebrand of
This was
the Zuck.
all selfish, is what it sounded like to
I think
me.
you're right. I think you're exactly right, Brandy. It feels, it's giving Marnie. It's giving Marnie.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Marnie.
Okay.
Okay, I feel like we should rewatch
We
Girls.
need some context. So this is Marnie is a character from, I would say,
Justin, everybody
iconic
knows who
millennial
Marnie
TV
is.
show Girls. Not everybody. Marnie is now kind of like
Everyone
a niche.
listening to this podcast knows Marnie and watch Girls.
That's true. Our very specific audience definitely knows Girls. But just for any new listeners, Marnie from the HBO series Girls, iconic millennial TV show, did a horrible performance at, I think it was her birthday party. Am I remembering that right?
No, I thought it was somebody else's.
Was it Hannah's
I thought it
birthday
was
party?
Shoshana's or somebody's.
Oh, Shosh's birthday party?
Yeah.
I can't
I
remember.
think it was someone else's party, and she started the cover of Stronger. Right? Wasn't that the song by Kanye West and Daft Punk?
Oh
Yes.
my god, yeah. Oh my god.
And she did like an acoustic version of that song.
It was very like that episode of Atlanta where it's like, why do white girls always love covering rap songs with like an acoustic guitar and like singing?
I don't remember that. That is so funny.
In Girls, it was like cringe comedy without the comedy. It was just cringe. I'm going to go ahead and keep talking shit about Benson Boone because after this whole Mark Zuckerberg thing happened, he posted a TikTok video, and I thought he might just be like, I don't condone...
A TikTok video, Justin? How old are you?
Oh my God.
You just can say TikTok, not TikTok video.
But
Everyone
there's-
knows that the videos
God.
on TikTok is a video.
Brandy, you're dating an old man. You're dating an old man.
There are TikToks that aren't videos.
I think we can tell from context clues whether it's a video.
Are you talking about the carousels?
Yeah, those are annoying.
Okay, for the most part, you can just say TikTok.
Okay. Benson Boone posted a TikTok, and in the TikTok, he basically said, like, how did Mark get my jumpsuit? That's weird. Where he could have just been like, I don't condone, like, Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't know how he got my jumpsuit. Like, not about this. Instead of doing that, he was just like, this is crazy. Just, like, riding the coattails with a virality for, like, his own benefit, essentially. It was like a react video where it was just, like, a still of his face, and the caption was like, I don't know how he got the jumpsuit. Very centrist. And the album cover of the album that he's putting out is him shirtless, like all bloodied up.
Of course he's shirtless, by the way. That's his favorite thing, second to flipping.
He's all bloodied up, and he's like got like an American flag draped over his back. And while, you know, optimistically maybe this album is going to be like a Born in the USA type thing.
No, delete it. Delete it immediately. It's not going to be anything like Born in the USA. That was a sound of a generation by an artist of a generation.
I agree with you, and that's like I don't have high hopes for American Heart by Benson Boone, like because of this behavior and because of like the lack of any kind of political messaging or any controversy in any of his actions or past songs. You know, I think it's just, again, it's similar to the Freddie Mercury / Elton John comparisons. Like it's the aesthetic for the sake of the aesthetic because it's really, you know, everybody's going country right now.
It's given industry plant.
I don't know about industry plant, but I think it is.
Oh, it sure is. He started American Idol. Bet you forgot about that.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, it does seem like he's an industry plant, especially with like giving his start and everything. Like that makes a lot of sense. Point for Geoff.
Yeah, point for me. Minus point for Justin. And a point for Brandy for being so astute.
I just feel hesitant to call anybody an industry plant because I think so many of our beloved artists, you know, come because of like random serendipitous connections with other people.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that anybody is intentionally placing horrible artists amongst a record label signees.
Oh, I don't think anyone's intentionally placing horrible artists, but I think that people are placing horrible artists.
Sure, but I think that all artists need like an arm up or a leg up usually to get mainstream appeal. And I think that like
mayhap
if you're using that definition of industry plant, then everybody's an industry plant. I mean, like Destiny's Child had to form as a girl group before like Beyonce had a solo career. You know what I'm saying? She had a leg up over other solo artists at that time. And I don't think that Beyonce's an industry plant is the obvious punchline to that argument. You know what I'm saying? So I just hesitate to use the term industry plant.
Justin?
I think Geoff was about to lunge through the screen.
This is one of your worst opinions I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of them.
What's the opinion that industry plant is overused?
Yes.
Well, okay.
And the fact that you brought up Destiny's Child and Beyonce out of any other artist, you went
Truly.
there.
I'm not hating. I think Destiny's Child and Beyonce are both incredible artists. Like, that's the entire point that I'm making, is that Beyonce, her solo career wouldn't have taken off if she wasn't a part of Destiny's Child, and that's just true.
That is true.
Yeah.
But what's that have to do with Miss Boone? Who started on American Idol and then suddenly has a record deal?
I'm not talking about Miss Boone. I'm talking about the term industry plant.
Yeah, right.
Benson Boone getting on American Idol and finding recognition there is how a lot of other like good artists also find recognition, like Kelly Clarkson. You know what I mean? Does that make her an industry plant?
Kelly Clarkson!
Wait, do we like Kelly Clarkson?
Yeah, we like
Yeah,
Kelly
what do you
Clarkson.
mean?
We
That's what
love
I'm
Kelly
saying.
Clarkson.
And I don't think she's an industry plant. Like, is anybody who ever came up through a music reality show an industry plant?
Justin, it's about the inauthenticity for me.
But that doesn't have to do with how he like got this platform in the first place.
It feels very manufactured. They're like, we're going to do these fun homages to bigger artists who are really, like, you know, cutting edge in their time. And then you'll be cutting edge too because you're doing like a reference to them. Like, it just feels like very put upon. It doesn't feel like he's making any creative decisions. I don't know. Maybe I should give Miss Boone a break. Maybe he does have some artistry that he wants to, exhibit for the people, but he's being stymied by the record label that has signed him. Maybe I'll give him a little bit of a pass. But the flipping must stop. Tried by The Hague.
Yeah, this is my prediction of Benson Boone, and I'm going to be a little harsh. I think we're probably going to forget who Benson Boone is in a year.
Oh,
a year.
That's a year or two.
Time.
I don't see myself remembering him. I think he's just he seems like a one-hit wonder, like that song that got him that's what it seems like to me. I don't think that he's more than that. And that's fine. Yeah.
Listen, I am a hater of Mr. Boone as much as both of you.
Miss, thank you. Miss,
sorry, Miss
Boone. It's Miss Boone.
Didn't mean to misgender Miss Boone. But what I am saying is that I agree with both of you, and I don't think that he's very memorable. I think that this album will probably not be very good. I am curious to see, because it does feel, I get why you're saying industry plant, because it does feel like, why is this guy getting all of the attention that he's getting?
Yes.
When there are so many other artists who are more interesting that could be getting this level of attention. And I don't really know why. Who is his audience? That's my question. And I guess that's how you can come across the industry plant feeling. But anyways, what about an artist that we all actually like? Miss Gaga. Lady Gaga, Coachella headliner.
Yes.
Have you guys heard about her headline set at Coachella this weekend?
Dance with Skeletons. Zombie Boy. Dance with Skeletons.
She emerged out of a sand pit with zombies.
Yeah, I heard that I haven't been able to find a recording of the set, and I didn't catch the live stream from Coachella, so I haven't seen much of the set. But I have read a lot about it, and apparently it was a 2-hour-long set list.
Extra, read all about it.
Really long set, and it was in a 5-act structure. Each act had a name that she announced to the crowd, also, by the way.
Very theatrical, very Gaga.
Very Gaga. Let me give you an example of one of the act names.
Yes, please.
Act 3, The Beautiful Nightmare That Knows Her Name.
You know what? Sometimes I love that she'll just put something out there and people will speculate about it. And it really isn't that deep. But
and she's like, I don't know, it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently the plot line of this multi-act set list was the death of her persona from the Fame era.
Yeah.
And then the resurrection of that persona during the Mayhem era. Which I think is nice and aligns with a lot of our discussion of Mayhem in our Mayhem episode, where it seems like she's falling back in love with pop music and bringing a lot of that original The Fame persona back into her music in this album.
Brandy, what did you think of her album? Because I haven't heard your thoughts about it yet.
I really liked it. I feel like I still am a Fame girl, mostly because I haven't really listened to it enough. I'm one of those people where I have to listen to an album over and over again to really truly fall in love with it. But there's quite a few songs that I am a big fan of on the album.
Big, huge
hits.
Speaking of my favorite songs off the album, I heard that Geoff made a cameo. Geoff, as we learned during our Mayhem episode. Geoff made an appearance during the performance of Killa, which was my favorite song off the album. Yeah.
I really need to find the live stream because I want to see her perform that live again. Did you ever watch the SNL performance?
Still haven't watched. It's been busy.
Wow, Justin. You're a huge disappointment. I'm going to send it to Brandy, and I know she'll watch it, because Brandy values my messages.
I will probably watch
Brandy
it.
listens and responds to all of my text messages. I don't get left on red by Brandy.
Well, I did leave you on red in our group chat this week.
When?
You sent over this Judge Judy thing, and I was at work, and then I didn't see it, and then I didn't respond.
Oh, well, that's okay if it's in a group message. But you always respond to my one-on-ones.
Oh, of course. I would never leave you on red on a one-on-one.
Justin, leave me on red. Justin leaves me on red.
Justin.
That is not true.
Justin says, I don't want to hear from this flop. He's like,
negative,
I'm
negative
sorry I
point
ever
for
began
Justin.
this podcast with him. Let me ignore this
God.
motherfucker. Maybe he'll go away and forget we're supposed to record.
These are all lies.
They are lies.
So, I think I would really love to watch the Gaga Coachella set.
Oh, yeah. I want to see these set pieces because she was talking in an interview about how she's being much more mindful about sustainability. But she was like, but for Coachella, I got to go big because this is once in a lifetime.
And I do wonder, there's been a little bit of discourse about the price of her tour tickets. You know, she's doing a stadium tour, I believe, in the near future.
Yes.
And the tickets, as predicted in our previous episode, are very expensive. If the production is anything like this Coachella show, which again, you know, like super intense 5-act operatic production, I can imagine where that money is going, you know, because those types of productions are not cheap to put on.
Certainly not. I do think a lot of the issue with the ticket pricing of it all, it has to do with, you know, monopolies being a thing that apparently our government's cool with again. Because Ticketmaster owning most of the venues or having at least exclusivity deals with all the major venues that can host major artists is really a huge problem, because then they can get away with charging whatever the fuck they want. And I don't like that.
I did bring this up on a previous episode, but the Department of Justice did actually sue Ticketmaster for anti-monopoly reasons.
Yeah.
Unclear what might happen to that lawsuit given current events. We'll see. But that lawsuit was happening.
I'm going to say that lawsuit is DOA at this point in time.
Yeah, I think there's other things happening that might be a little bit more top of mind.
Break up the banks and Ticketmaster. Delete that.
And then before we move on to White Lotus, and actually in the spirit... Before we move on to the White Lotus, we got to shout out Lisa, who of course starred in the White Lotus and her performance at Coachella. Was that your Lisa impression?
No,
that
was
my White
Lotus.
Was
a White Lotus thing.
Oh.
Like the little quirks in
breaths.
between
Yeah.
like scenes, I would say. That was like...
Thank you for seeing me.
You're welcome. Always.
Yeah, she performed. I saw that Patrick Schwarzenegger, her White Lotus co-star, was there during her performance. Pretty fun.
Could there be romance?
I think he's happily engaged from what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be surprising. I think I have heard recently that there are some rumors about Lisa having a boyfriend, actually.
Is it guy talk? Oh, I hope they got together.
You know it's not guy talk.
Oh,
That guy
fuck
sucks.
guy talk.
You know, this is a great...
No. We haven't talked about one thing that we should.
Oh.
A favorite of the pod. Miss Charlie. Miss
Oh, right,
Charlie's
we haven't talked
performance.
How could we forget?
Charlie.
Thank
How
you, Brandy.
dare you guys?
Damn.
Wow.
You didn't even write it on the document.
This almost wouldn't have been Bance.
It's like he's not even Brat.
Wow. This is so not Brad, Justin.
This is very unbrat of me. Yes, Charlie did also perform at Coachella, and she brought out a lot of guests. She brought out Billie Eilish, aka William Eyelash, as we call
William
her.
Eyelash.
Troye Sivan.
Love Troy.
And Lorde.
Lord. Yeah. I am Lord. Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys saw at the end of her performance with Lorde, she said Lorde Summer 2025. So I don't know if she's hinting a Lorde album that will be released in the near future.
Lorde album.
Lorde album.
I did not see
she
this
hasn't.
clip.
She hasn't put. Wait, when's the last
Justin
time she put out an
absolutely
album?
cheesing.
It was like
It was-
mid 2020.
It's about
was it?
time.
I
yeah,
think it was
It's been
2020.
a while.
I didn't realize it was that long. For some reason, I thought it was like 2021.
It might have been
Or
2021.
22.
Let's look.
You're
Yeah,
probably
it
right.
was 2021. It was summer 2021.
Okay. What is time, though, you know?
Yeah, late summer. I'm a big Lorde fan. I'm a solar power apologist. I think that album, not her best, but it's pretty good. It came during a time in the pandemic when we were all kind of like emerging from our hovels, you know, and like entering the world again. So I think it just came out at the right moment for me.
Did you say Hubble, like, as in, like, hovel and bubble?
No, I said hovel, but maybe it's hovel is the way you actually pronounce it. I don't know.
I thought you were doing a fun portmanteau.
I was not. I was just saying the
Okay.
word. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what she does next. I think she's one of our most interesting pop stars.
I think she's very fascinating. I like her face. It's very interesting looking. You know how some people just have an interesting looking face and you can't help but stare at it? She's one of those people for me. It's like a Tilda Swinton sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like a strange sort of ethereal beauty.
Anya Taylor-Joy, a classic example.
Yeah, she is one of those. I want to talk about this. I've been thinking about this for a long time and I've never said it out loud. Don't cancel me. I think Anya Taylor-Joy needs a new hair color. Because that, like, really bleach blonde with her dark eyebrows and very dark eyes and very pale skin isn't doing it for me. I think she would look very striking as a brunette.
She needs to get her colors done. Color analysis.
Oh, I love the color analysis.
I want to do it so badly. It's so expensive.
Wait, but you don't need that.
Jeff's like, I'll do it for free.
I'll do it for free. You're a spring.
A spring? Do you think?
Yeah.
But like, I only like wearing gold jewelry. Is that
I know
like...
you do like wearing gold, but I think silver actually would look better.
What?
Yeah. But you know what? I think you gotta mix the metals up.
But I have neutral skin tone. I've learned that from picking foundations because cool doesn't work and warm doesn't work, so I have to be in the between. I
am neutral cool, I would say. So I relate. It's hard to find any kind of makeup or any kind of like BB cream, CC cream that matches because it's like you gotta do some magic mumbo jumbo behind the scenes.
Yeah, anything that's too pink toned, it's like looks so bad. I'm better off going more warm.
What color are your veins when you go like this?
I don't know if that's actually a true thing, but they're blue.
Yeah, you're blue. That makes sense. You're spring, for sure.
But I agree with you with Anna Taylor-Joy. I think that she would probably look a lot better, maybe with a deeper hair color.
Yeah.
I mean, she has, in a lot of films, had dark hair. I think about The Menu, for example. She had dark hair.
She looked great in that film.
Yeah.
She looks great. She had dark hair.
I can see that.
The Menu, really good, actually. Directed by one of the longtime directors of Succession, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I kind of want to watch Succession again. Maybe I'll do that sometime soon.
Speaking of TV, though, we gotta move on to our White Lotus conversation. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk White Lotus.
And we're back.
We're so back. And finally, after all this time, we're finally on our full-length White Lotus episode.
Oh, baby, baby. It's been a long time coming.
I can't wait to talk about this.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I'll do a background on the show.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. Justin's got to take over.
He's got to mansplain us to start off with. It wouldn't be an episode without mansplaining from Justin.
That's right.
I mean, I always do a bit of a background on this show before we discuss. White Lotus. It's a comedy drama show on HBO. Premiered in 2021. Its third season just ended a couple weeks ago in 2025. It's centered around the fictional hotel chain The White Lotus, which is, of course, heavily based on and filmed at location in Four Seasons Resorts. It was created, directed, and written by Mike White, who, before The White Lotus, is probably best known for writing School of Rock, the Jack Black film, and being a contestant on The Amazing Race and Survivor.
And in School of Rock, one of my favorite films ever, perfect movie, he plays Ned Schneebly, which is where Schneebly Pie comes from.
Oh my god, really?
That's where Schneebly Pie. Schneebly Pie.
Just one of our group's in-jokes, basically. For those of our listeners, the very few of you who are not a member of that group.
Many of them are. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, and everyone knows that video.
Schneebs.
Each season of The White Lotus features a new location, a new central theme, and a new cast of characters, with a few actors carrying across multiple seasons. Notable cast members from this season are Carrie Coon, Leslie Bibb, Michelle Monaghan, Walton Goggins, Lisa, mononym, of course.
Of course.
Parker Posey, Jason Isaacs, and Amy Lou Wood. The cast is absolutely stacked this season.
Stacked with talent. And what about Natasha Rothwell?
Again, there's so many people. Like, I couldn't list everybody. It would have been like 30 people.
Justin said, let me exclude the black woman.
Yep, that's what I said. What I said.
You heard it here, folks, guys.
So.
Interesting.
Let me ask you guys, Brandy and Geoff. Maybe we'll start with Brandy since you're the guest.
Oh.
What's your history with The White Lotus, and what were your thoughts on the first two seasons before we get into season 3?
So I started watching White Lotus like from the very first time it premiered on HBO. I think, like most shows, I'm usually like, I didn't watch like the first couple episodes when they came out, but then I heard it from somebody else, and then I was like, okay, I'll start watching this. And it was probably pandemic time, so we started watching it together, I believe, the first season. Immediately hooked, because I love, like, a murder mystery in general, but this is, like, something a little bit more different, I feel like, because it has that comedy element, and it's not, like, all about the murder that happens. It's just mostly about, like, the relationships that they portray through the course of a week, which is, like, very fascinating. I feel like it's, like, very much about, like, human experience in a way.
Geoff, what was your impression of the first couple seasons of the show?
I loved that the show centered around rich people because it was sort of like a takedown of the wealthy. And it was satirical, but it also was sort of like in response to the culture that I think has been kind of at its pinnacle, the pinnacle of like idealizing the rich and the wealthy through things like Married to Medicine, Real Housewives franchise. It almost feels like it was like a reaction to that and a reaction to like celebrity idolatry. So I like that it was sort of a takedown of them to be like, actually, these people are deeply flawed and also have big problems in their lives that money simply can't fix.
Yeah, so I came into the show around the same time that I started watching Succession. So Succession premiered earlier, but I think that it really came like to its peak around season 3, which was concurrent with this season of the first season of White Lotus. So there was a lot of discussion in the zeitgeist about like, you know, eat the rich narratives and stuff like that. I think what Succession and the White Lotus share is like a real cynicism about the world, right? Because this is not, in the first 2 seasons of the show, a show that is like, we can all just get along if rich people just like learn about what it's like to be like struggling and not wealthy. It's very much like money corrupts everyone.
Yeah.
And things are random. The universe is careless. And like, it's kind of like, let's just laugh at that because that's all we can do. You know, that's a big underlying theme or shared philosophy, I think, of many of the White Lotus seasons and storylines. Which, you know, in 2021, I think everybody was kind of feeling that way. You know, like depth of the COVID pandemic. And I do appreciate how funny it is. I also think that it has been, in its first season, like a real springboard for certain stars. Like Sydney Sweeney, of course, was in Euphoria, but I think that White Lotus season 1 was another huge role for her in her stardom. I've always been a fan of the series. It's not quite as hard-hitting as something like Succession. To me, it doesn't quite have the pathos, but it does manage to balance like this real pulpiness of like, this is just fun, entertaining television in the vein of something like Housewives, while still being critical of those people, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it.
And I think that that's part of why it's so popular. And I gotta say, this season 3, like, I don't think there's been a show in recent memory that has had this big of a cultural footprint. Like, every single person I know who's like in my circles has been watching this show. People are referencing it like everywhere. There was just an SNL skit about it last night. I don't know if you watched SNL last night.
I didn't watch it yet.
But it does really feel like this is like the show of the year, at least in terms of cultural impact.
Yeah, and you know what? I miss the water cooler days. I miss like appointment television. I miss like there being, you know, monoculture in our society. Like, it was cool when everybody got to watch something and everyone knew what you're talking about. I feel like White Lotus is one of the few shows that still there's like some semblance of that.
It's definitely happening. Like, I am talking to multiple people I was, when this season was airing, was talking to multiple people every week about the developments, especially some of the more shocking developments that happened towards the middle of the season, which I'm sure we'll get into.
There were plenty. Oh boy.
During our spoiler talk, which we will save that until later. We're staying spoiler free for now.
And this is like one of those shows which I love. It's the perfect show to have like a watch party. Like, have everyone watch it at the same time. Like, we had so much fun with our friends here in DC watching it with them. Like, we would like scream the entire episode, and it was like so fun. And this is like one of those perfect television shows to like watch with friends, like week by week.
I agree. And you know what? Until you said that, I didn't really think about how fun that is to do. And this is absolutely one of those shows that you can do because there's so many different like barriers to, or there's so few barriers to entry. Some people who like all different sorts of genres or the different fields of shows can all find something that they like about this. There is like the mystery puzzle piece kind of element to the show. There is like the insidious, like supernatural aspect of the show. There is, you know, just like character-based drama. There is like more of a plot line that and through line to other seasons sometimes. So this show kind of does have a different, or it does have kind of mass appeal.
So getting into season 3 of White Lotus.
Yes. Set in Thailand, baby.
Set in Thailand. I would love to know both of your high-level thoughts and opinions about the season. Was it good? Like, did it live up to the past 2 seasons? What are your overall takes? Geoff, why don't you go first this time?
I really enjoyed this season. I think that there were some flaws that made it probably not one of my... It probably wasn't my favorite in terms of the plot, but some of my favorite performances of this series were in this season of the show.
I think this was my favorite season of White Lotus. I loved this one. I think this is I don't know, maybe it's because of the people I was watching it with made me love it more, but I really, really, really liked it. The only criticism is I was a little disappointed by the theme song. It grew on me, but I was a little disappointed when the first time we went to watch it and it didn't come on. I was like, excuse me? Like, what are you doing?
You were certainly not alone in that feeling.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who were mad about that.
Mm-hmm.
But like the actual like performances, I think that's what like capped it for me. My other criticism of the season is I think that the last episode was kind of rushed. The rest of the season I think is like great. Like I no notes, honestly. It's just that last episode, I think we will get to it, but I have opinions about how it ended.
Yeah, I think overall that this had like the Game of Thrones style of pacing.
Mm-hmm.
In that like the first few episodes, I felt like, wow, they're really drawing this one out. I even thought in my mind, like, maybe this is going to be one of those like 10 episode like anthologies that I love. I love a 10 episode season of television. And then it was very condensed and compressed the last like 2 episodes. There was a lot that went down in a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's funny. So, unfortunately, I do have notes on this season. I think that this season generally was still very good. And in terms of execution, like technically, like the cinematography, the performances.
Gorge.
Visually, it's the most stunning season, I think, of
I
the
think
show.
so, too.
Like, I want to go to Thailand now.
It's
it looks
not really
so
close.
pretty.
I've always wanted to go, but this like made me really want to go even more. I'm like, I gotta put this at the top.
But I think for me, the problem was more on the thematic and writing side of things, like the high level arcs of the characters and like what the show was trying to get across with this season, which I think a lot of people aren't trying to get like very meaningful themes out of White Lotus. Like I said, it does have that pulp factor to it. And I think a lot of people just watch it for entertainment value. And let me tell you, like, this season was extremely fucking entertaining. That is definitely not an issue with this season. And I think that overall, it's still a very well executed season. But I think that a lot of the interesting character work that was in play in the middle of the season didn't come to a satisfying conclusion at the end. And this happened like in multiple scenarios where either like the most fascinating relationships towards the middle just resolved super quickly and with no explanation, seemingly for no reason other than just like, well, we had to come up with some kind of conclusion to wrap this storyline up. And then what I consider to be the most boring storyline of the season, even though it features some of the best performances and characters, ended up being like the core of the show. This season really shifted from the White Lotus's like cynicism and nihilism that they displayed in season 1 and 2 to be a little bit more moralistic, where like people are punished for their decisions by the show, by the universe, right? As opposed to like season 1 and season 2, it seemed to be more like nothing means anything and everything is randomness and bad things happen to good people and vice versa, you know? This season seemed to have a much more moral arc for some of its characters, and I don't really know how to feel about that, because I don't actually agree with the moral point that the show might be trying to make there. And it's hard to go deeper without getting into spoilers. So who are your guys' favorite characters and performances this season?
One of my favorites, which I'm sure is like a crowd favorite, was Parker Posey playing Victoria Ratliff.
Peak comic performance. Like, she was consistently hilarious the entire season.
So funny. The accent work was amazing. And actually it was so accurate.
Why are you with this middle-aged weirdo?
That was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the number of like one-liners that she gives is incredible. I mean, that's where the show really did not skimp, is like the number of one-liners in this season that can just be used in all kinds of memes or like references is off the charts.
Yeah, one thing that I love about the White Lotus is that Mike White calls people who are incredible actors, but perhaps their phone's not ringing as much as it used to. Especially, I've got to say, for like middle-aged women who tend to have a really hard time finding work in Hollywood because it's so fixated on youth and beauty. I think that it was really cool to see him bring Parker Posey into relevance again, and to have a lot of people have like a first exposure to her. There are a lot of people who didn't know any of the work that she did in the 90s and the 2000s, like in Best of Show, one of my favorite movies, in Clock Watchers, and For Your Consideration. Parker Posey's been in a ton of stuff from that era, and I think that there's a lot of viewers who didn't necessarily know who she was, and so this has sort of like reinvigorated her career, much in the same way it did for Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because I think there's an entire storyline in this season specifically about middle-aged women and their friendship and the way that, depending on the woman and depending on their background, like how much, physical attractiveness matters to them versus other features of life, whether that be like family or career-driven success. And that's like embodied by the three characters portrayed by Carrie Coon, Leslie Bibb, and Michelle Monaghan, who I think all did an incredible job, but we got to shout out our queen, Carrie Coon.
Carrie Coon. Pod fave, Carrie Coon.
Brandy, what was your favorite character in the show?
I I have a favorite character. I mean, my girl Chelsea, Amy Lee Wood, Chelsea, our unbothered queen. Like the entire, like watching like her as a character, I'm like, I just want to be her. Like she's like just living her best life, and she's like so unapologetically like happy, and I'm like, I love that for her. I just like loved her performance. She was like the heart of this season. And I do want to give a shout out, because I thought like his performance was like really good, and I thought he was hilarious, and I thought he did a really good job of like portraying his like inner turmoil. Is fucking Jason Isaacs.
Yeah. Like,
so good. I, like, loved him so much. I thought he did such a good job. So I'm gonna shout him out.
Yeah, Lucius Malfoy himself.
Yeah, Mr. Lucius Malfoy.
Damn.
Just to age ourselves a little bit.
Very millennial code to bring up Lucius Malfoy. What about that blonde wig he had in the cane? Ooh, girl.
Ooh, girl.
You couldn't tell Miss Lucius nothing.
Pretty good wig, honestly. In terms of the big scheme of wigs, that was a pretty good one.
Do you know something interesting about Jason Isaac in that role? He was the one who was like, Lucius Malfoy needs to have his wand in a walking cane, and he needs to wear like fur coats and flamboyant shit and have like a long ass wig. They showed him his costume, and he was like, this simply won't do. So he like, seriously, so he literally went out and bought a wig and was like, this is what I'm wearing for my character, and this is the cane that we need to make for him.
Hell yeah, dude. That's
because he was like, he needs to look like a wealthy aristocrat who's never had to like work a day in his life. So he's like, an aristocrat wouldn't be worried about having long hair, because they have someone who will take care of it for them. I just think that it's really cool that he put his own like mark on that and made it such an iconic role. So, like, just as he did in this role in White Lotus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do we want to go into least favorite characters in the show?
Oh, yeah.
I think we probably all agree on which. Maybe we can all say it at once.
I don't think we all agree on this. I think we might have differing opinions. But we can all say it once.
I have two, but I don't know which one I hate more.
I know who I hate the most, for sure.
You know what? I actually know. I know.
And just to be clear, this is our least favorite character, not like performance.
Yes.
Right.
Least favorite character. On the count of three. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Guy talk.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, fuck Rick.
I mean, Rick
Fuck
sucks.
Rick.
Rick sucks. I think we agree as a character he sucks, but I do think
And
he's
an
written
idiot.
that way intentionally. You know what I mean?
Selfish motherfucker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why is Guy Talk your least favorite character?
Well, I think that there is a plot line between Mook, who's portrayed by Lisa, and Guy Tak, who's portrayed by Tim Tong. Might be pronouncing his last name wrong. Very sorry if I am. That is the most nothing burger of a storyline that this season has to offer.
Yes.
Guy Tak is increasingly frustrating in his complete inability to do literally anything.
Yeah.
He has no brain, and it's like the show wants us to feel bad for him the entire show, and you're just like, you're the least competent person I've ever seen. I don't feel bad for you.
I kind of felt bad for him for a while, and then there was like one instance where he did something ridiculously stupid, and I was like, I don't even fucking feel bad for you.
Right,
Like,
like-
I am done. I'm done with my pity.
His character jumps the shark, where it's like, are we really supposed to feel bad for this guy after this point? Like, I just
Yeah.
think that, unfortunately, because I think Lisa is a real talent, I do think that her role here really smacks of stunt casting, because her character had nothing to do. She was just basically there to, like, be Lisa in a couple of scenes so that the White Lotus made headlines, which it doesn't need her. You know, like, they could have completely excised Guy Tak and Lisa from this show, and it would have been the same show, I think.
And like the whole time you were thinking that, I guess, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but you were thinking that Lisa was going to have something more of a sinister role, and she didn't really have a role at all.
Or do anything.
Yeah.
Have any role. Because she basically had no role. I mean, her only role was to be... This is a common theme in this season. There are multiple women in this show who are just there to be like influences on their male counterparts. And I don't think that that's very fair to those characters. There's also a lot of great character work with women in this show. Like the 3 friends that we talked about, I think, is a great example of that.
It's a great, and like, I feel like there's like this whole thing about, a lot of people say that you shouldn't have like 3 close friends because somebody's always left out in some way. And the way that they like wrote that type of turmoil and like a friendship like that was so incredibly accurate, to the point where I was just like, this is too real. I don't like it. Like, it made me very uncomfortable in some senses. I was like, oh God.
I really loved that aspect of the season. The storyline between Jacqueline, I forget the other one's name, and Lori.
Yes,
Lori.
Lori.
Carrie Coon.
Kate.
Jacqueline is... Kate.
Kate is the
Leslie Bibb.
actress. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Kate
Right?
is...
No, Kate is no.
Kate's the mom from Texas.
Kate is Leslie Bibb's character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the storyline between the 3 of them because it was real, because I think we all have had those kinds of interactions to some degree with our friends. And it's funny because I'll just talk about my personal experience with our friends.
Mm-hmm.
We have had many times like a significant other of somebody or a new friend of another person comes into like one of our group hangs. And then afterwards, it's like, do you guys all hate each other?
Many people feel the same way after listening to Bance.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's like, those people are so close to you that you are really unfiltered and just completely yourself with them. And I think people are not used to seeing that. And so it's shocking when you do. And I feel like that is what we saw here to some degree. I think mostly with Lori.
Yeah.
In the friend group. Because Lori was just kind of like, I'm going to be so for real with you guys all the time. And I don't think that they were used to that. But I think that that is something that comes with friendship as it deepens over time. I think there's always a point with friendship where you're like, well, we're never not going to be friends now. Even if we don't talk all the time, like we're just going to always be friends. And I feel like they got to that point, but didn't realize that that meant dropping the like niceties. And I think Lori has that experience, and she's like, yeah, I don't have to do that with you guys anymore.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, this to me was the most rich character work in the show, was these 3 women. It's funny that well, let me just say off the top that I think Lori is the most Jeff-coded character in any fiction that I've seen in recent memory. Like, Lori is basically just like...
It's Geoff.
Like, gender swap Geoff, and it's Lori, you know what I mean? Because you're somebody who really is just, like, brash and is not into, you know, niceties or walking on eggshells around other people, you know, arguably to a fault sometimes, where it's just like, you gotta come out with what's important, and that's what matters. But I do think that like the other two women represent different modes of navigating friendships.
Yes.
Right? Like Kate is the mom of the friend group, and all she cares about is that everybody is happy and still friendly with each other.
Right. She wants everyone to get along.
And that's why she butts heads with Lori, because she's like, Lori, why are you like bringing up all of these deep-seated issues?
Right.
when we just want to have a good time in Thailand, you know?
Yeah, Kate is like the peacekeeper.
And then, of course, you've got Jacqueline. She's somebody who is very obsessed with the way that other people perceive her, and she just wants to be perceived by her friends as being like the most beautiful and the best and at
the
everything.
Most generous.
Right.
Yeah.
And she is happy to lie and like finagle her way into doing that. I mean, this makes her sound more negative than I think she was actually portrayed in the show. But I do think that she, at many times, were kind of like toying around with her friends so that she could get the attention that she wanted. And I think that it was her way of navigating that friendship, even though she still did feel genuine care for her friends.
I think that Kate is... Sorry, I think I'm getting them all confused. I think Jacqueline is deeply insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And so because she operates from a place of insecurity and from a place of there not being abundance, the way that she interacts with people has negative repercussions, but is not done in a malicious way.
Right. That's a good way of framing it.
I think that is why there's a great deal of conflict, is because she's so insecure about her, with who she is and with herself and how she looks and how she sounds, how she's perceived, like you were saying. I think like insecurity and anxiety are like the root of all evil in relationships, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And she is unfortunately a person who has not really dealt with those issues that she has, and it manifests in the chaos that has ensued between the three of them in this dynamic.
Now that we've talked a little bit about the characters, I think it's time to get into some spoilery territory.
If you haven't watched...
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
What's up, y'all? Editor Justin here. If you want to skip spoilers, you can go to 152:30. All right, let's get back to the pod.
Spoilers abound, F-slurs.
Let's go group of characters by group of characters, because I think each different group kind of concludes in a specific way. Yeah, and there's a lot to cover here. First, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is, of course, the Ratcliffe family and the conclusion that family comes to.
The Ratcliffes.
Yes, the Ratcliffes. I think this was the plot line that made the most headlines, because there was, of course, this, I would say, shocking scene between Patrick Schwarzenegger's character, Saxon, and Sam Nivola's character, Lachlan, who are brothers in the show. Patrick Schwarzenegger is like your frat boy who's like obsessed with corporate success and partying and getting laid. And Lachlan is his little brother who kind of like idolizes him, I think, in many ways.
Yeah.
They go out on the town for a night out, get really fucked up.
Full moon party, baby.
At the full moon party. Patrick and Lachlan are kind of both trying to get with different women. Amy Lou Wood's character, Chelsea, is pursued by Patrick. And then another character whose name I'm totally blanking on right now is pursued by Lachlan.
I also liked her. What's her name? What was her character's name? Fuck.
Her name is Chloe.
Chloe.
And she's portrayed by Charlotte Labon. I'm assuming French.
I think she's Canadian.
Yeah, so they're pursuing those two women. Of course, Chelsea, the sweet angel that she is, departs and does not sleep with Saxon because she is in a relationship with Rick. However, Lachlan does end up sleeping with Chloe, and fucked up Saxon in the bed next to these two having sex kind of becomes a threesome. I mean, it was a bit of a shocking revelation that this happened.
Indeed.
And this was what was so entertaining about watching this with people, because it was like the first scene that they flashed to it wasn't like completely confirmed yet. And then one of my friends, Trillian, was like, I think he was jerking him off. And I was like, no, he wasn't. I think he was just laying there.
I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I think that's just the way that they filmed
she's
it.
like, no. I really think that like he was doing, like his Lockie was doing it. And I was like, rewind. And we rewind it and we all screamed.
Yeah, and then, like, we paused it, and we were like, oh, God, I think he is. And then, like, of course, later in the episode, they gave us, like, the full shot where it was, like, absolutely confirmed. We were like, oh, God, they're really going there with this one.
Yeah.
That was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough.
And then at the same time, Lachlan is also being influenced by his sister.
Yes, Piper.
Piper,
Piper,
no!
Who is involved with a monastery nearby. And she's planning on doing like a 1-year kind of sabbatical at this monastery. And after this horrible like party experience with his brother Saxon, Lachlan then attends the monastery or spends the night at the monastery with Piper. At the end, Saxon is kind of disillusioned by his experience at the party, right? Because he ends up kind of siding a little bit more with Chelsea and getting into like more spiritual topics that she introduced him to.
Mm-hmm.
And also Piper decides not to spend the year sabbatical at the monastery.
Right.
Lachlan pushed both of them to be maybe more self-critical about their own motivations in a way that made them both really uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Then, of course, at the same time, we have the patriarch played by Jason Isaacs, who is guilty of some unnamed financial crime.
Oh, no, it's named money laundering.
Money laundering. He, for the entire season, contemplates suicide and also killing his entire family and just barely avoids doing so at the end.
Brandy, you called that from the jump.
Yeah, I was like, this is classic family annihilator situation. And I was like trying to look up, there's like 4 different types of family annihilators, and I was trying to figure out which one he is. So that's what I'm currently doing right now.
Okay.
So he's a paranoid family annihilator. So pretty
Okay.
much that means that he wants to shelter the rest of his family from experiencing something bad. So he thinks he's doing a good thing by killing them.
Got it.
And that's why at the end, when Piper is like, I actually love being rich, and I love this, and I like having luxury things, and then obviously Saxon, and then you have Lockie, who, like, honestly, I think Lockie doesn't know who the fuck he is.
Right.
Like, that's, I think, that the only reason why he was, like, technically unscathed by the thing, like, when he attempted to kill them, is because, like, he just doesn't know what he wants. Like, I think he tries being like Saxon, and then he tries being like his sister, and he's like, honestly, I don't know. I think he's, like, in that type of time of his life where he's, like, very moldable, and he can, like, switch different ways.
Well, yeah, importantly, the father, whose name I'm forgetting right now, but Jason Isaacs' character, Timothy, has conversations with each of his family members, and each of them at different times say, like, I don't think I could live without our current situation. I think Saxon says, like, my career is everything to me, or something like that.
Right.
Victoria is like, you know, I'm not built to live a poor life, or whatever that quote is.
She's not meant to live an uncomfortable
And
life.
you know what? I know that quote has been, like, so... People just really ran with it online. But it's so true. I completely understand how she feels. I'm like, girl, same. Someone finally saying the quiet part out loud. I'm not meant to be, you know, live a difficult life.
I think that is, like, if you take that to its logical conclusion, and you're Timothy over here, who's about to lose everything, every measure of comfort in his life that he has come to know it, you know, he can fool himself into being like, okay, well, then she'd probably rather be dead.
Right.
And that's what he does for everybody, except when he asks Lachlan. Lachlan says, I think I could probably do it. And that's just because Lachlan is, like, a people pleaser.
Yes.
Lachlan is, like, to me, such an enigmatic character in this season of The White Lotus, because the general theme of this season, I think, is, like, enlightenment / existentialism. What is the meaning of life, right?
It's very Camus.
Right. I mean, it's very also Buddhism, right? Like, the inherent meaninglessness and meaningfulness of life, right? The paradox that's going on there.
Right.
And Lachlan tries to find meaning in his brother's philosophy, and in doing so, disillusions his brother. He tries to find meaning in his sister's philosophy, and in doing so, disillusions his sister.
It's very Siddhartha.
And he's left rudderless, like Brandy said, where he doesn't seem to know what he wants until that near-death experience when his dad kind of accidentally poisons him with the suicide fruit.
Yep.
That made me really emotional. I was like tearing up when he found him. I was like, no. Because, like, I feel like I was, like, kind of proud of Timothy at this point. I was like, he's just facing it. He's going head on. I'm proud of him. Like, that's great. And then the fact that, like, he almost lost his kid, I was like, no. But I don't know. I weirdly was, like, I was, like, feeling for him the entire... I know he's, like, probably a bad guy, you know, with the money laundering and everything. But it made me feel bad for him. I felt bad for him more than guy talk. Sorry.
I think the audience is meant to, at least at first, sympathize with Timothy, because it's quite apparent that while Victoria says they have an interesting relationship, which I feel like the show didn't really dig into enough, and I wish that it had more. But there was one time, I think it was the end of episode 2, they were like in bed, and it was like the last scene of the episode, and he was being very withdrawn, and she kind of was like, "What's going on with you?" And he was like, "Nothing, everything's fine." And she says, "Everyone always tells me what a good man you are." And I found that phrase, the way that was phrased, like really interesting, because she wasn't saying you're a good man. She was saying other people always tell me how great you are. I think that might hint at what I think is why we're supposed to feel some sympathy for Timothy, is that he has become such a provider for his family that is how he's seen to them. Like, they don't even notice at first when he's acting totally crazy when he's taking her Lorazepam. And it's so fascinating to me because the entire time his sort of feelings seem to be disregarded, and his behavior is disregarded because they just see him basically as an ATM. This is the vibe that I got from the show.
Mm-hmm.
And even for Saxon, I think like he does in a way like idolize his father, but not because of who he is, but what he's accomplished. And so I think part of the reason we're meant to feel sympathy for him is because no one's seeing him for him, they're seeing him for what he has done.
And I think he sees himself that way, which is why he ends up deciding to kill his family almost, right? Because he's like, if I can't provide for my family financially, then what am I to them? I'm nothing to them if I can't do that, right?
And it's a way of protecting them. Like, he thinks he's protecting them. He's continuing to be the provider and continuing to be the person that's going to take care of them by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it goes back to, like, patriarchy isn't just terrible for women, it's also bad for men because of reasons like this, right? Like, I think that trying to undermine the patriarchy would also help dismantle these types of patriarchal norms where it's like the man is the financial provider and that's what he does. Like, and otherwise he's just a, stone cold stoic, presence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am very curious about what the point of Lachlan's character was, because I think I mentioned this earlier before we got into the spoiler section, but there's a lot of characters here that seem just kind of like symbols masquerading as characters.
Yeah, which I think is what Lachlan is. I think he's supposed to be Siddhartha, the Buddha, and is supposed to like show you he tried these different paths to follow. They all led him to nothing, and so then, he basically is like, I'm gonna die now, and then sees God, and it's like, oh wait, life does have meaning. But it felt a little heavy-handed. It
felt heavy-handed, and it also felt like, okay, so like, what did he see? God, like he saw God? Right. I'm sorry, like, are we supposed to believe that Buddhism is literally real in the world of the White Lotus? I don't think so. I don't think that Mike White is saying that.
You and I talked about this because I was like, are we supposed to assume as viewers in this world, in this season, that Buddhism is reality? That the idea of being reincarnated is an actuality? And you were like, I don't think so. But for a lot of the show, I was starting to watch it as though that was an objective truth.
This is one of my issues with the show. So let's move on to a different storyline, which is the Rick and Chelsea storyline.
Okay, I guess we're done with that.
No, this is related to what you're saying. I swear. But the Rick and Chelsea storyline, right? Chelsea is another character who I think Amy Lou Harris, that's her name, right? Amy Lou Wood, sorry.
Amy Lou Wood.
Amy Lou Wood did an incredible job portraying Chelsea. And I think she was an absolute highlight of the season.
Standout.
But the writing of the character, they really did her dirty, because she was essentially killed as a punishment for Rick making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the show was trying to say, Rick is reaping these consequences because of the poor decision he made to continue to pursue like these violent desires. Again, in the spirit of Buddhism, right? Like, violence begets violence. And because of that, Chelsea dies. I mean, she's fridged. Are you guys familiar with the trope of women being fridged in pop culture?
I've not heard of that.
This is a trope, and it began in superhero comics, of course, where a female love interest is killed specifically for the sake of the progression of a man's character arc. And this happens a lot in superhero comics, like, think about in The Dark Knight.
I was about to bring up The Dark Knight.
Yeah, when Rachel gets murdered by the Joker, just so that the Batman can then progress. It happens in Spider-Man with Gwen Stacy. These are very common things that happen in pop culture all the time. And I found it really tough that the show was like, we're just going to kill off Chelsea to show that Rick made the wrong decision. And Rick, again, is kind of a non-character. He's on one track the entire season. And this was the least interesting pairing to me, was Rick and Chelsea, because nothing really changed the entire time with them. That seemed to be like the cornerstone of the show. I mean, they were the bodies that they found at the beginning of the season, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of the thematic issue that I had with the show, is that Chelsea deserved to be like a real full-fledged character and not just like a symbol of goodness, which is, I think, what she ended up being in the universe of the show, you know?
Like, she didn't really have any, like, evil moments at all.
Not that she needs to.
She didn't need to, but, like, I don't know.
It's that the show moralized it. They were like, this goodness, this symbol of goodness that is Rick's relationship with Chelsea is ruined because of Rick's bad decision. Like, that seemed to be what the show was saying.
Do you agree with that, Brandy?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't want to, like, write her off just, like, as that, because I think she served more than a purpose than just that. Like,
tell me more.
That was, like, more of, like, the last episode. Like, that's what they treated her like in that last episode. But for the most of the season, like, Rick wasn't around her. He was off in fucking Bangkok or doing whatever he needed to do to avenge his father / kill his... I don't even know. That was also, like, something that really pissed me off at the end when they were like, I wish they, like, they had that whole time for him to discover that this guy was his actual father. And then they just decided to do it, like, the last possible minute. And, like, that would have made that storyline a little bit more interesting rather than just, like, revealing it at the end.
This whole storyline of Rick and Chelsea, I felt like missed the mark for the reasons that you just said, Brandy, and for much of what you just said, Justin, is that it did feel like, because the reason I actually posed the question to you off pod about, like, are we to assume that Buddhism is the objective truth of this world that we're watching in this season, was because I felt like Chelsea seemed to have, like, this innate wisdom that she was here to protect Rick and to show him the path to goodness and salvation. But, like, she was playing it with such conviction, just that was objective truth, that I was like, wait, maybe in this world we're supposed to believe that, you know, Buddhism and reincarnation is real, and Chelsea is enlightened and is, you know, a godlike figure here to shepherd Rick onto the righteous path. Because that's the way she treated. She almost was an oracle this entire season. It's interesting, because a lot of her character was about being a caretaker for him, being like a guardian of sorts for Rick. But then on another side, it was about her just, like, trying to have a good time. Like, she kept setting them up with, like, Chloe and Greg Gary
Greg Gary
to, like, hang out and make friends, and, you know, she wanted to go out and do things and experience life, but at the same time it was like Rick just held her back because she knew that, like, she actually needed to, like, take care of him.
Right.
So that was a little bit disappointing for me.
Obviously there's a lot of different things to consider, and I don't think that I'm as talented as Mike White, and largely this season was very successful.
Yes.
And I think, Brandy, to your point, like, Amy Lou Wood did a lot with the character, and the writing, like the line-to-line writing of her character was great. She gave an incredible performance. The face acting, some of the reactions that she gave were incredible. But, like, what I don't like is that you have this really complex character that at the end is then reduced to basically just being like a sacrifice due to, like, the morality of the world.
And honestly, that was, like, my biggest, like, negative for this season, is because I feel like she was, like, my favorite character the entire time. Like, anytime she was on screen, I was like, yes, I love Chelsea. I love, like, her whole character.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was hilarious. She was so funny. So I just, like, hate the way they just, like, kill, like, not the fact that they killed her, but, like, the way that they did it and, like, didn't really lead up to it felt random to me for the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that they killed her, it's that they killed her, for me personally.
Yeah.
They killed her, and then Rick is then carrying her to the end of the dock, like, screaming about how he's made the wrong decision and now he regrets everything, and, like, oh no,
and then it goes back
like,
because
he dies.
The night before, she's like, oh, I think we're gonna be together forever, and he's like, I think so too. And she was like, the first time that Rick was actually, like,
emotionally available
to her, and she's been emotionally available this entire time, and he finally said that, and she's so incredibly happy. And honestly, it was that moment I was like, she's way too happy, and I said this to the people. I was like, she's gonna be the one that dies.
Yeah.
We kind of went through the last episode where everyone kind of had, like, a wrapping like everything was like tied up. It seemed like, but that out of all of those ties up, that was the most like significant, I think, for her character. So then I was like, she's dying.
Yeah, I think you're right. Speaking of emotional availability, I want to talk about Rick and his reunion with his friend in Bangkok.
Oh, we got to talk about the Sam Rockwell cameo in, what was it, episode 4, episode 5? I can't remember.
I can't even remember.
That man is going to win a Best Guest Actor Emmy.
Yeah, he must.
Or not Best Guest Actor, Best Supporting Actor Emmy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. The monologue he gave about realizing that he was interested in trans women. No, right? Wait.
There was a whole thing. So he's an alcoholic. First it was drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
Then it was sleeping with trans women.
Yes.
Then it was...
I thought it was just sleeping with women, and then it went into trans women.
Yes,
right, exactly.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right, Brandy.
And then it was...
like sex addiction, basically. Yep.
Cross-dressing / being trans and having sex with men.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and then that was when I realized that this was all a dead end. And that's when I got sober.
Yeah.
Basically.
Was he trying to find his enlightenment through sex?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It seemed there were a lot of parallels between that
makes
little
a lot of
story and Saxon's plot, right? Because a similar thing happened to Saxon where something crossed the line for Saxon in his pursuit of just like hedonism. And for him, that was just too far. And he was like, now I need to try to find an alternative source of enlightenment.
I mean, not to go back to Chelsea, but when Chelsea calls him soulless, like that was like, I was like, he is. Like, that's like the perfect description of that.
Yeah. That was another reason I thought that she was like an oracle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I thought that it was interesting to me. What was most interesting to me in that scene is that up until that point in the show, we have seen Rick be completely shut down emotionally and Chelsea trying desperately to vie for his attention and affection. And like there was one like sex scene, but even in that he seemed like rather detached from her and honestly was just so focused on her boobs, which I thought was like odd. It was weird to me because she was like really putting herself out there trying to connect with him, telling him in as many ways as she could that she loved him and felt they were destined to be together. But he was emotionally available for his friend who was like going on this like long, rambling, meandering tale of his own enlightenment. And he was so supportive and present for him and just really connected with him. And it just reminded me that men just do things for other men. They just do things for other men.
It's a good point.
Men do everything that men do is to impress or gain status with and from other men.
Yeah, I mean, this is reason number 852 why Rick sucks.
Yeah.
What I kept coming back to is, why is Chelsea with this man in the first place? How did they meet? How did this happen? Because, like, at some point, Rick must have shown some spark of something. Like, this entire season, he showed seemingly no affection to Chelsea.
Yeah, very little.
Which was really tough to watch. It was, on one level, just, like, unbelievable that she would be sticking with him so devotedly in the season. And on another level, I was like, I want her, like, towards the end when Saxon started getting into the same stuff that she was into, and it seemed like for a moment Chelsea was actually kind of tempted, maybe by Saxon. I was like, I think, and actually now I still think maybe it would be more interesting for her to have decided to ditch Rick and be with somebody who is, like, open to the idea of being more spiritual.
Yeah, I was kind of hopeful that was going to happen when they had that moment of connection.
Exactly. And we could have had like a season 4 where they come back and like now Saxon's an asshole again, because we all know that's exactly what would happen in real life if they got together. But like, that's way more interesting than what happened, which is very much just like, you know, woman stays with horrible, like arguably toxic man, and she literally dies for it.
Yeah.
It just felt too moralistic to me not to go back to that.
I guess this is a quick thing because we haven't mentioned her yet, but Belinda, her reoccurrence.
Belinda!
I was a little disappointed by her storyline because I thought it was going to be... Because I really liked her and I was rooting for her, but at last episode I fucking hated her. Or I just like... I was disappointed. I like understand, but I was like a little annoyed. I was like, girl,
Yeah.
Like, morally, like, she was corrupted by money, and she did the exact same thing. What was the other spa person?
I mean, Tanya.
Tanya.
Yeah, she did. She turned into Tanya. Like, she became Tanya.
I loved that turn. Like, I didn't like...
I was just disappointed by her, because I was just like... Because I really liked her when she, like, went up to Fabian. Also, I hated Fabian. He was annoying as hell. But I did like when he shrieked and fell into the water at the last episode. Was it Porn Chai?
Porn Chai is the man that she slept with.
Yeah.
She became Tanya, but she fucked over Porn Chai. She made Porn Chai the new Belinda.
Yes.
I didn't like in a personal level that she did that. It was disappointing for me as well. But I think that hews more towards like the White Lotus's underlying philosophy, which is like money corrupts, right? Yeah. And like nobody, even somebody like Belinda, who again we see as like this beacon of good in season 1, can be corrupted by money. And again, that goes counter to somebody like Chelsea, who's this beacon of good who just dies because she's just too good to exist in this world. You know, that's what that felt like. And it felt very counter to the whole philosophy of the White Lotus. So I liked Belinda's storyline a lot more than I liked the wrapping up of Chelsea and Rick's storyline. Also want to shout out that Zion is a real dick.
He was annoying. No.
He was very much giving, who's that guy? That Gen Z actor from Netflix. He's got a very thick neck. What's his name? Noah Centineo.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I'm like, did you watch videos of this man to prepare for this role? Because you're acting exactly like him.
I have something to add. I don't know if you guys heard that there was a scene cut between Piper's character and Zion's character. After Piper decided that she did not want to live in the monastery, she decides to go lose her virginity, and she loses it to Zion, and they cut the scene.
Really?
Yes.
That seems so random.
Yeah, it seems, and the reason why they cut it is because it was really random, and I think Sarah Catherine Hook was explaining it, like, on an interview. She was saying that, like, at first she was really upset that they cut the scene. However, it was, like, the entire time she was, like, seeking, like, enlightenment, and all of a sudden it turned into a rom-com, and it didn't really make sense to keep that into it. So she totally understood, but, like, that did happen, and it was cut.
That's interesting.
So isn't that interesting that they did that?
Well, that is really interesting because I think that I found Piper's, we already talked about the Ratcliffes as a whole, but I found Piper's wrap-up also really disappointing. You know, Saxon's disillusionment with his philosophy is like really shocking and I think believable. Because you can imagine if something like that happened to you, you'd be like, what the fuck? I gotta stop doing whatever it is I'm doing because whatever it is not working. Piper just like spends a night at the monastery, wakes up once, looks at the ceiling, goes back to sleep, and then suddenly she has like this come to Jesus moment with her parents where she's like, actually, I'm a blue-blooded capitalist. It's just like it didn't feel earned, that twist, because she seemed really genuinely interested in Buddhism until then.
Yeah. There wasn't like any kind of breadcrumbing throughout the early part of the season that would suggest that she was even a little bit trepidatious about this idea.
Right.
So it would have been nice to see some more of the hesitancy. But yeah, you know, I'm glad that Belinda secured the bag. I was a little bit sad about the turn on Porn Chai. It did make sense thematically that happened, considering the rest of the seasons of the show. I was hopeful that they were going to be, you know, I was shipping them hard.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
I want to talk about this, though. And no one's talking about this, and I'm so curious about it. What about the lizards? The monitor lizards that kept like crossing paths with her and then were in her thing. It's so fascinating because I looked this up because I was like, this must mean something. And I don't know, I feel like I fell into this trap of all these people who watched The White Lotus thinking that this truly, in the vein of Severance, was like a puzzle box mystery. I kept being like, this all means something. And so I looked it up, and monitor lizards in Thai culture are considered like protectors and guardians. So I was like, is the lizard Tanya coming back to protect Belinda from
that's
Gary
so
Gregg?
Sweet. I love that, actually. I'm gonna say that's the case.
But then nothing happened with it.
Wow.
But they kept, you know, like 3 times I think that the lizard like crossed her path or like fell out of the tree next to her and then was like underneath her armoire, you know, in her bedroom. So I thought there was going to be more significance to that, but I don't know that it was anything.
You could read that because I think that an important context there is that this is Belinda being in a non-familiar locale, right? And with this flora and fauna that she's not familiar with, And she's not Thai, so she doesn't know the Thai culture's significance of monitor lizards, right? She's scared of them, but if they are ultimately protectors, you could argue that that's Gary Gregg or Greg Gary. She's scared of this man who's there, an ominous presence, and then he's the one who ends up giving her the bag at the end. Just a thought. But I think there's a lot of recurring things with animals in the White Lotus, and usually it has to do with like the tenuousness of our social norms and our civilization, right? Because like it's very easy for animals to pierce that veil and come in and make us feel like insecure. There was a lot of stuff with monkeys this season.
I was about to say the monkeys, and especially with the Radcliffes when they're coming in, it's the see no evil, speak no evil, or something that they
hear
did.
No evil.
That's hear no evil thing. And then like just like the cinematography with the monkeys, there was this recurring shot with the monkey like staring at you from the tree, which was really cool.
There's one more storyline. Actually, there's two more that we haven't talked about.
So many.
Do we want to even get into Guy Talk and Mook? Because to me, that was easily the most disappointing of the storylines.
Let's talk about it quick, because there's really not much there to say other than what could have been.
This is another character, Mook, who was literally just there to be a temptation to Guy Talk.
Yeah.
She had no other role. It was like easily the worst thing that they could have done with her. I feel bad for Lisa because she's obviously talented and they gave her absolutely nothing to do. Guy Talk was an infuriating character.
Yes.
End of my rant.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same. I hate to think that it was stunt casting, but, you know, it does sort of feel like somebody who's like as famous as Lisa is globally, I would think that they would have given her a much meatier role. And so I just kept assuming, knowing that, you know, of course, this is the conceit of watching a television show, that, oh, they got this huge superstar. This has to be a great role. And then it just really wasn't. I was hopeful that she was like in on the robbery, and like the way that she was presenting herself with Guy Talk was all an effort to keep him distracted from putting the pieces together. Then it was so clear when he was recognizing the Russians while they were at the fight on their first date that she had nothing to do with it. And I was like, oh my God, how disappointing is this?
Like, if they would have rewrite it, I would do that 100%. That would have been way more interesting. And it would have made a lot of sense.
It would have made more sense.
Yeah, it didn't, like, her being interested in Guy Talk at one point, like, didn't really make sense.
Like, her character also, I think, had, and I'm not of this culture, so I can't say for certain that this is the thing, but it seems in different portrayals, Western portrayals of Thailand that I've seen on film before, that there is like a great deal of emphasis from men who are trying to get a woman's attention that they have to demonstrate like power in order for their affections to be returned. It was disappointing to see her character written with such a traditional anti-feminist kind of mindset, because that's so diametrically opposed to the person that Lisa actually is. And so I was just kind of surprised. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I totally agree.
I agree.
I actually found this season quite regressive when it came to feminist politics in general, between the Chelsea storyline and this Mook Guy Talk storyline.
Yeah.
It felt like a real reversion to, like, you know, women as symbols instead of characters. And it's funny that leaves the three women who are friends as like the last remaining thing that we haven't talked about. Yeah.
This relationship, I think I already said this, but this was the most fascinating part of the whole show for me, because as I approach middle age, I am thinking a lot about the relationships I have in my life, and I am always thinking, like, what's next? What are things going to look like? You know, friends are starting to, like, talk about children, and, like, people are really beginning to, like, settle down. Some of my friends already have children. It's just really interesting for us to get a window of view into this relationship that we know is like decades old, and they've grown up together. And I'm just always fascinated by the portrayal of middle-aged relationships and friendships especially.
Let's talk another future Emmy nomination, which is Best Actor in a Drama for Carrie Coon for that monologue that she gave in the finale.
Right? Sobbing. It was so good.
So
I love that monologue.
I love these three characters. I love their dynamics. I loved even Carrie Coon's monologue. What I did not love was that basically after that monologue, we just get a montage of them being super happy and hanging out together, and that's the end of their storyline.
Yeah.
I'm like, this would be so good to have another episode to unpack exactly like what Kate and Jacqueline think about this. You know what I mean? Instead, it just felt like we got this stellar Carrie Coon monologue, and then that plot line's over. Happily ever after. Which was a little bit, again, it was that Game of Thrones pacing thing, where I think if we had another maybe like character-focused couple of scenes with these three characters, it would have wrapped up a little bit better. But yeah, I totally agree. I think that thematically, the point that it's trying to make is like, how do you find meaning in your life? And each of the three women find meaning through different ways. And I think Lori just found a new way internally to find meaning in her life, which is like experiencing things. And that's good in its own right, you know, with people that you know and who you spent time with.
Yeah, I think that it's sort of a beautiful and, for me at least, very relatable outlook on the world, because I do feel like I don't necessarily have those markers of what I think is societally considered success in my life. Like, I have a good career, but it's not outstanding and amazing. I haven't done anything life-changing and fabulous and won allocates and things like that. And I don't have, like, a family, you know, of my own family. And also same for, like, significant other. I don't have that. So it really resonated with me that she said, you know, basically that you're still living and that you have spent time with people who are meaningful to you is enough for your life to have value and meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing else to add. It was a great analogy. Just point for Geoff. No, I got really emotional because I don't know. I feel like I've been a little down in the dumps lately. So, like, hearing her monologue was just, like, really hit home for me. Because it's, like, I don't know. I feel like we all have things that we feel like give our lives meaning and, like, passions that we have. And then if we're not successful in, like, certain areas of our life, we think that we're like, meaningless. And it's comforting to hear that that's not true.
I also just want to say that all three of these women's performances were some of my favorites of the season. You know, of course, Parker Posey was my favorite in terms of comedy acting, but in terms of dramatic acting, Michelle Monaghan and Leslie Bibb and Carrie Coon just, like, really delivered on the drama front for me and kept me, like, wanting more and wanting to see more of them on the screen because they were so compelling. Their performances were very lived in. They felt like real people because these were characters we got to see their flaws highlighted in a way that wasn't satirical or for comedic relief. It was really to showcase the complexity of humans. And so I really enjoyed seeing the three of them on the screen. I got to give it up to Carrie Coon for her incredible monologue. I got to give it up to Michelle Monaghan because she was so... My favorite episode of hers was the one where they went off the campus, off the White Lotus property to out in the village, and before that to the budget resort that was down the street.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
The way that she behaved was so funny, but also not over the top like Parker Posey was. Like, it wasn't done for comedic effect. It was just really funny watching somebody have, like, a total realization and be, like, utterly disgusted by their surroundings. And I don't think I've ever seen somebody act that way and do it in such a real way that made me both laugh but also be like, damn, this lady's fucked. Like, she's fucked up.
Leslie Bibb, I think she embodied the stereotypical Texas mom
very centrist,
very well. Like, crazy. It was so good.
Yeah, like the absolute queens, the experts at cognitive dissonance. You know what I mean? Like, just because there's two different ideas in her head doesn't give her any stress at all. She's just like I don't care.
She's like, are we really going to talk about Trump right now? And she smiles through it. I'm like,
Leslie
Oh,
Bibb,
girl.
queen
girl.
of face acting, I might say. She could
So
give Nicole
good.
Kidman a run for her fucking money in the school of face acting.
Like her facial expressions when that entire conversation, she was like the way she said that and she like smiled. I was like, ooh.
The big squinty smile. Oh
Yes.
my god, it was so cunty.
Yeah, and she also knew, like, it was clear that she has had this conversation like a dozen times. And
Yes.
she was like, I know exactly
Right.
how to
She's like, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's like, they're really nice people.
Yes, exactly. It
Great
was
families.
so great. Great families. Yes, that's exactly. How is you, Leslie Bibb?
Also, fun fact to close this segment, Leslie Bibb, Sam Rockwell, married.
Also, fun fact.
Cute.
Intentionally childless couple.
Another fun fact, both hot.
Another fun fact. I think Leslie Bibb needs an award. I think she needs an award for face acting. I want that to be a new category in the Oscars.
Honestly, yes. That's like, it is crazy. The face acting this entire season was great.
Yeah,
but I
a
would
lot of
call
it
out
was.
her and then Amy Lou Wood for the face acting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were both so expressive. It was wonderful. I really love that. I want to talk about this real quick. We talked about the characters a lot. We talked about some of the things that we didn't like in terms of the pacing. I want to talk about some of the stuff that we haven't yet touched on, which is like, what the fuck was going on with Fabian? I thought that there was going to be more there.
I hated him.
There
He
were
was
too
like
many
a
characters in the
non-entity.
show. Yeah.
I wanted him to die.
It was just strange. And then the whole Sritala thing.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was going to be some kind of other revelation. When they were talking about how one of their daughters was, like, lived here in Thailand, I was like, oh, maybe Mook is their daughter. We're going to get a reveal because there has to be something there with Mook. Nothing of the sort.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this again, but I do think that the actor who played Sritala, who is Lek Patravati, could be pronouncing that wrong. She's very famous in Thailand.
Right, in Thailand, yeah. She's huge.
People call her the Thai Judi Dench. So she's like a huge Thai actor, and I wonder if this was another case of just like, we gotta cast another big Thai actor and like have her in the show because it's set in Thailand. Yeah. Again, I wish they could have given her more to do. I mean, she was fine in all the scenes that she was in, but she didn't really have much to do other than just kind of be funny with Sam Rockwell, you know?
Yeah.
It annoys me that, like, I love that they cast, like, Thai people, but, like, give them something to do. Like, don't just, like, throw them in there. Like, write them into the story. Like, do something. Give them more. Because then, at the end of the day, I'm like, why? Like, it's just, like, I feel like it's just, like, rude to them.
Yeah. It does feel like
tokenism.
Yes.
Yeah, no, big time. That's frustrating to me.
It's frustrating to me too. I want to talk about this too. Valentin.
Are you gonna say
so
hot?
Valentine?
Valentine. Yeah, Valentine. So hot.
That's kind of the point of his character.
Yeah. I want to see more of that. I also thought that was definitely like a blackmail situation that was going to unfold.
You think so?
I thought like because this drives me crazy in shows and movies when people walk into places and don't shut the door behind them. Because I always think there's a reason we didn't see it happen. So I'm like, because no one in the world would you ever walk into like, I don't know, your home right now? Would you guys walk in from the hallway in your apartment and just leave your door wide open?
No, but this is something I've never noticed. I feel like you've just ruined so much media for me. I'm going to notice this every time now.
Oh, God. I don't think I've ever noticed it.
He walked in after the Russians left the pool, after Kate was like, all right, kids, you got to go home. Us old ladies are going to bed, which I also thought was so funny.
So mom
energy. Then Jacqueline calls Valentin back to her to come back to her, hotel or villa for a dick me down evening. And he walks in and left the door wide open. So I said, oh, his buddies are going to come in and fucking rob the place, or they're going to film her and then extort her for money.
I could see that.
That was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about this. The snake necklace that there was such object focus on never came back into relevance other than when Lori was escaping the other Russian's apartment and we just saw it sitting in his back room.
This feels a lot like you were doing a lot of TikTok theorying Like you were watching a lot of content that was theory crafting?
Oh, wow. So Justin's saying that I can't have my own original ideas or that parallel thought doesn't exist. Fascinating.
I did not say either of those things, but I am saying this is similar to a lot of
insinuation.
our Severance conversations, which is just assigning a lot of meaning to camera choices that took like you said, a lot of focus. I think that there was maybe like a total of 5 seconds on that necklace over the course of the season.
Well, Brandy, why don't you come closer to the microphone because you're the podcast host now with me, and Justin's canceled again.
All right,
Wow.
so it's Brandy and Geoff Bance now.
That's right.
Okay.
Brant's with Bandy and Geoff. Bandy?
Bandy.
Brant's with Brandy and Geoff.
Is that what I said? Brant's?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
You said Brance.
Well, you know what? My brain is bad, as we've said many
It's a
times on the
colander.
show. It's a colander.
It's a colander
With
lined with
flypaper.
flypaper.
Well, that's kind of all I have to say about the White Lotus, I think.
Do you have anything else to say, Brands?
Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. I have one more thing to say.
Every episode.
Okay.
We've already talked about the pacing issues, but I gotta say, the last episode, they're all sailing away, acting like they weren't just part of a mass shooting.
Yes, that
Just
was
being, like,
crazy.
chill,
The girls were just laughing.
Laughing with wine in their hand. I'm like, girl, what?
It's similar
They
to
screamed and ran away. That's very traumatic. They saw a man die.
Literally,
Like, come
right in
on.
front of them.
That's what I mean. Like, it's very much all this, like, tying up for the sake of making it feel like things are tied up. Like,
Yeah.
it felt the
It
same
doesn't
way.
have to be tied up.
I agree. Or at least, like, show some semblance of continuity, right? I almost wonder if this was, like, B-roll that they took of them arriving to the island that they just repurposed for the end of the show. Like, it all just felt really rushed at the very end. And I think this could have been solved because, like, as we mentioned, the first 4 episodes were very slow paced. I think that was a criticism of the first half of the season was like nothing's happening?
Yeah.
Mark.
Yep.
I think they easily could have spread out some of this stuff to some of the earlier
Well,
episodes.
I think it's important to tension build, but do you think that it was too much? It was overkill. Do you think it could have been cut down a little bit more?
I didn't know it was coming in the first half of the season, so I was like, well, just wait. This is the White Lotus. This is always what happens. But
Right.
when I found at the end that many of the storylines were not properly wrapped up, in my opinion, I was like, okay, now we got to shift things back. Because a lot of those problems would have been solved by some extra scenes with Piper questioning her, like, belief in Buddhism or her desire to stay there for a year, with maybe some more falling action from the 3 women plot line, right? How do Jacqueline and Kate respond to that incredible monologue from Lori, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things that could have been more fleshed out that just weren't, and that's tough.
That is tough.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one more question to ask everybody. It can be quick.
Yeah.
All right. Season 4 of White Lotus.
Oh.
Where do we want it to be? Because I have an opinion, and I want to hear everyone else's. Like, where location-wise do you think it would be cool?
Oh, well, we talked about this last week.
Oh, I didn't listen last week. Can I give my opinion?
That's okay. But basically,
Yes.
I said mine might be the same thing as you because I did cite our conversation after the finale as
He
part of the
stole
reason.
it.
So
Thief.
I said the Alps.
That's mine. I want, like, a winter ski location. That'd be so pretty. and so
That would be
cool.
very interesting. I said I would like it to be warm weather, but I thought it would be cool for it to be in an arid environment, like a desert some kind.
We were talking maybe Qatar.
Yeah, the Gobi Desert, perhaps. I think there's a lot of different places where it could be. That could be interesting. Oh, I thought Morocco, like Marrakesh, could be interesting as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Some place that has like a rich culture, because that's part of what I've liked about the White Lotus is that even though it may be a somewhat myopic view, at least we're like getting exposure to other cultures, which I find fascinating and also just visually striking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, oh, what about this? Mike White calls you and says, "Hey, Brandy, I got a job for you. I want you to come and be the casting director for season 4 of The White Lotus. I heard you were interested in going to the Alps, and I think that's a great idea. And now I'd like to know, who do you think should be cast in this season? Give me 5 actors, gender inclusive, that you'd like to see."
5.
This is a lot to ask, and I need to think.
This is exactly what I said last week when Geoff asked me this question.
Like, this should have been something you texted me instead of the Judge Judy thing, and then I could have thought about it more. Sorry.
Wow. Well, think on your feet, Brands.
Okay, I don't know.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I don't have 5 actors still, but I do have one that I think would be a really good fit.
Sure.
Kyle Chandler of Friday Night Lights fame.
Oh.
I think he'd play a great patriarch type, you know? Maybe even like a sleazy patriarch, depending on who.
Wow, I haven't thought about him in a long time.
I think he would do well. Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one. I love an unexpected pick. Okay, Brandy, I'll make it easier for you. Pick one actor that you'd like to see on the show. Because I think one of the great things about this show is that they do a good job of pulling people from obscurity who are like newcomers, fresh faces, if you will. But they also get people who they're a little bit out of fashion, if you will.
Yeah.
Sort of not on the A-list.
I only can think of A-listers, and I'm trying to think of somebody that's not one. What if Hilary Duff was on the White Lotus?
Hilary Duff?
Wait, I actually really like that.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting.
I mean, she hasn't been doing a ton on the
She
acting
hasn't done
space
anything.
yet.
Right. I mean, I love Hilary Duff.
Me too.
I would be...
She's a
you know
queen.
what? In a similar vein, here's another person I'd love to see on the White Lotus who I think would kill. Mandy Moore.
Yes, wait, that's who exactly I was thinking of, because I was thinking of, yes, Mandy Moore would do amazing.
This is like a whole genre of actors. Like, I feel like Jessica Biel is in a similar situation.
I don't like her.
She was really good in The Sinner.
I heard that she was really good. I think you might have told me she was really good in that, because you're famously an FX stan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I feel as compelled to watch Jessica Biel. It might be the Timberlake of it all. And that's tough. But Mandy Moore and Hilary Duff are also good friends. It would be cool to see them both cast on this together.
Mm-hmm.
Another person in a similar ilk, I think, that would be interesting on the White Lotus, who I think would probably get a lot of eyeballs, is Busy Phillips.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, Busy Phillips is like such an underrated actor in general, I think.
I agree with you. I also would love to see Connie Britton come back. I loved her in season 1.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking of Kyle Chandler, because she was also in Friday Night Lights, right?
Of course. Coach. I love Coach with her giant wine glass.
Yeah. Ooh, Emma Roberts. I feel like I don't know. I kind of love her. I love her.
Emma Roberts and Charlie XCX together would be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. The Charlie XCX idea was cut, I think, that was in our previous recording, but we did mention Charlie XCX playing some version of herself on the White Lotus, so.
That would be funny. I think Emma Roberts could get maybe a little too camp, but I'm also thinking of the direction of Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, American Horror.
So,
I feel like she could.
Maybe she has the range under a Mike White's direction.
Mm-hmm.
Tutelage, if you will. Well, that's it for the White Lotus, kids.
That's right. I think it's time to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our What's Goods. We are so back, and this episode's already running long. So, Brandy, you're our guest. I want to ask you today, what has been good with you this week?
Well, Justin, I am currently in my glow-up era, leading up to our nuptials in less than 4 months. So I've been really concentrating on my skincare. Geoff, you'll be interested in this.
I am interested in this.
So I have been doing some research, and I've been on numerous medications for like hormonal acne, but I've been really concentrating on like improving the texture of my skin. And I've dove into the Korean beauty skincare.
Oh,
Let me just say, K-beauty, light years ahead of us. Unmatched. Like crazy. And I have pretty sensitive skin, and I have having a lot of texture along my chin, and I found this. Thank you to TikTok. This is a TikTok recommendation, which sometimes they work.
Sure do.
It's called the Equal Berry Toner, swimming pool toner. I don't know why it's called swimming pool toner, but it's a pretty unique formula because it has like an enzyme called protease, which naturally overturns your cell reproduction. And it's really gentle. And my skin texture has improved like so much. I feel like my skin is glowing more. And that in combination with sunscreen, amazing. We love it. And that's honestly all I have to say.
What's the name of it? One more time for the listeners.
Equal Berry Swimming Pool Toner. And you can get it on Amazon. It's like for like $22. It's like pretty inexpensive.
We love that.
That's a great rec. Our first skincare rec on the show.
Well, get ready for number 2. Because What's Good this week is also skincare related. I want to tell you all about this wonderful product I've been using by Corsex. It is their snail mucin with galactomyces serum.
Ooh.
I have to tell you, I get out of the shower, my skin's still damp. I put on my little hyaluronic acid, gotta lock in that moisture. And then I really seal it all in with the Corsex snail mucin with galactomyces. Galactomyces, wonderful molecule that helps to brighten and tone your skin. The snail mucin is just, a hydrophilic essence that almost like gives you like a nice little hardening effect. So you can actually feel your skin gets tighter, of course temporarily, but it really just does a good job of like locking in all the product that you've put on your face so that it doesn't evaporate or get, brushed off by like sweat or touching your skin throughout the day. So I would like to recommend the Corsex snail mucin with galactomyces. It's a wonderful serum. I think it's been doing wonders for my skin. Oh, look how smooth
beautiful.
and even. And it's really inexpensive, and it's available online at Costco for like $14 for like a 4 or 5 ounce bottle. And I've been using the same bottle for, 4 months now. A little goes a long way, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Well, Justin, what's good this week?
Well, I'm going to keep this short, but I have an album that I have been absolutely obsessed with that dropped on Friday. It's called Sable Fable. It's by Benavidez. I would say pretty well-known folk/alternative artist.
And lullabyist.
Well, I think, so Benavidez...
All his songs sound like this. Time to go to sleep, a kiss.
Well, I think you might be thinking of the era of Benavidez, which is his early career, where he was like pretty straightforwardly like a folk artist. And most of his songs were like very sparse, like bleak sounding. I literally lived in a cabin in the middle of winter for like 6 months, and this album came out of it. Like, that's literally how the beginning of his album, the beginning of his career started. There was a huge turning point in his career, which is when he put out his EP Blood Bank, which featured the song Woods. This song Woods featured the use of autotune, and this attracted the attention of Kanye West, who then sampled it in a song on his album My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And as much as we hate Kanye, this did serve as a turning point for Benavidez's career, where he got really way more adventurous with his production style and also started getting more bold with his vocals. Instead of kind of being like a Bob Dylan type, he started actually singing. And I think that in his past couple albums, he's been really experimenting with like very strange production styles and really cool vocal techniques. This latest album, Sable Fable, was preceded by an EP that was just called Sable. Sable is a word that just means like the color black, and the EP was very bleak and, I don't know, kind of depressing. Like, it was this very internal folk EP that kind of harkened back to that early career of Benavidez, where it was very sparse and stripped down production. Not a ton of big vocal deliveries or big melodies, right? It's much more like literary in terms of its style, which I still liked it, but I've been a bigger fan of his career post Blood Bank. So I was a little bit like, oh, well, this maybe isn't for me. So he put out this album, which features the second half of the album called Fable.
Oh, it's a 2-part.
It's like a 2-disc album. It's pretty short. It's like 45 minutes long, so it's not a double album. But it has these 2 parts. The first part is that EP Sable, which is very folk-like. And then there's a transition into the second half of the album, which opens with this like transition track where he says, January isn't the whole world. And it kind of symbolizes this emergence from winter into spring. And it's just like this warm, optimistic sounding, glorious celebration of life and relationships. So it's like an absolutely beautiful album. And I think that second half really puts the first half into context and makes me like the first half way more. I could talk about multiple songs that I really like off this album, but I want to really highlight one, which is called If Only I Could Wait, which features Danielle Haim. And I have to say, Haim is on an absolute fucking tear this year. I don't know what's going on. Something's in the water, but like Haim is fucking killing it. She is featured in this song, and it's a duet between Bon Iver and herself.
Wait, which Haim is it?
Danielle.
Danielle. Okay.
The lead singer, yeah. So it starts with this like tinny drum loop, and then suddenly these off-tempo synth stabs come in. It's like on this echo that does not match up with the loop of the drums.
Oh.
And then there's also this deep guitar sound that comes in at the beginning.
If only I could wait.
And I almost don't even want to spoil the song and like how the duet develops because it's just so beautiful. This is like an all-timer. It's like my favorite song of the year. Obviously, this type of music is not really like danceable music, but it's very soulful. It's like a big power ballad. And it illustrates that Bon Iver has really evolved as an artist, and he's giving like easily his best vocal performances on this album. His voice is very soulful. Yeah, it's an incredible listen. So even if you don't listen to the whole album, I would say at least listen to If Only I Could Wait featuring Danielle Haim, because that song absolutely rules. And the album is called Sable Fable.
Well, maybe I'll give that last song with Danielle Haim a listen, but other than that, until Bon Iver apologizes to Beyonce, I will not be listening to his music.
Bon Iver Okay, I need more. Do we
Apology
have time?
tour.
Do we have time for this?
Who
Can
could
you give
forget?
context?
The year was 2016. Bon Iver was doing an interview with Rolling Stone. He said to Rolling Stone, Beyonce should not be taking $2 million and doing a Pepsi tour and then be a young role model for young girls. Don't do that. That stuff really angers me. To which I say, Bon Iver, you're fucking jealous. Guess who's jealous of Beyonce? Bon Iver. Because Pepsi ain't coming knocking on his door asking him to take a tour for $2 million and be a brand ambassador. He needs to take several seats. Goodbye, Bon Iver. You canceled. You burnt.
All right, well, I think that this new album is really incredible. And also, I thought I remember him having worked with a bunch of Beyonce frequent collaborators, so I'm kind of surprised to hear.
Did you find anything
this.
about the Beyonce controversy?
There is not a single mention of it here on his Wikipedia page, but if there's any additional context, I'll be sure to add
Wikipedia, a great resource.
it. It is.
Guess what? Everybody can check the show notes because I'm sending a link to Justin right now, which he will include. And it is a link to a Pitchfork article about this matter. In fact, I'll send it to both Justin and Brandy. And I know at least Brandy will read it, as discussed.
As discussed.
Anyways, well, I think that's all for now. We'll see you next time.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
This has been Dance with Geoff and Justin. Dance is created and produced by Geoff Taylor and me, Justin Benavidez. Graphic design by Geoff Taylor. Editing by Justin Benavidez. The theme music for Bance is the track Nebraska With You by Sam Day and is provided by No Copyright Sounds. Email us at bancepod@gmail.com with any questions, recommendations, or just to say hi. If you like the podcast, rate and review us on Apple or Spotify. And tell your friends. Bye. Okay. Do you want to say and we're back, Brands?
No.
Okay, so then
That's the energy.
Geoff, you can go ahead and say and we're back then.
You can leave that in.
Or I can say it.